Good morning. I'm speaking to you from the European Parliament here in Strasbourg. I'm joined by Billy Kelleher, Fianna Fáil MEP for Ireland South. Billy, welcome to the show. You are expressing reservations about voting for the Brexit withdrawal agreement, which is due to happen in the European Parliament in Brussels on the 29th of January because of the rights of citizens in the future. Tell me about that.
Yes, primarily I'm content with the broad trusted withdrawal agreement. It does ensure that there won't be any hard border in the context of trade and commerce on the island of Ireland, and that there should be no inhibitants to that. The issue of concern would be citizens' rights and entitlements to reside in Northern Ireland. For example, if you're a European citizen but not an Irish citizen living in the Republic of Ireland, married or in a long-term relationship with an Irish citizen, and you so wish to move to Northern Ireland to live and work and reside, well, in the years ahead you'll have to get permission from the UK government to do that. The European citizen will, the Irish citizen won't. But that will put huge pressure on families and could have major implications. For example, simple things but very profound. In healthcare, for example, will people be able to reside in one jurisdiction and practice healthcare in another jurisdiction? Will there be equal recognition of qualifications and professional competencies? And all these issues need to be clarified for me to have absolute certainty that the withdrawal agreement will not put any inhibitants on the movement of goods and services, which is agreed, but in the context of citizens' rights there is genuine concerns. And it's just not I expressing the concerns about the island of Ireland. This is European-wide. People have grave concerns that European citizens living in the UK will have to apply for settlement status, and whether or not they will get that automatically is very questionable.
And this was raised in the European Parliament during the week because there was a discussion about this, and indeed there'll be a vote on it as well. Just getting back to the Irish citizens, Billy, and people who are Irish living, we'll say, in England, what will be their rights?
Well, I mean, an Irish person living in the UK will have no rights other than the right of free travel to and from the United Kingdom and the Republic of Ireland. But beyond that, their rights will be whatever rights will be conferred on British citizens, because they will have withdrawn from the European Union. But an Irish citizen living in Northern Ireland is equally a UK citizen. By dint of the Good Friday Agreement, people have an entitlement to opt to be an Irish citizen, a European Union citizen, or a UK citizen, and not a European citizen. It's complex, but at the very core of this is citizens' rights, the fundamental principle that if you're an Irish citizen, you have all the rights conferred on you by the Irish state and the European Union. And in this context, with regard to family unification, people who want to move to Northern Ireland from the Republic, who are European citizens but not necessarily Irish citizens, but maybe married to an Irish citizen, will have to get permission to reside and work in Northern Ireland, and that could have implications.
But as far as we know, because of the agreements that were struck late last year, there should be no difficulty now between movement of people between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. Yes,
movement is one thing, but residing is a different thing. So there'll be no difficulty in the movement of people. So in other words, people will be able to traverse the border north-south on a daily basis unencumbered. The issue will be whether or not a European citizen who is now living in the Republic or even in Northern Ireland, will they get permission to reside and work in Northern Ireland? And that is the issue. They can move all day long between the two jurisdictions, but in terms of actually staying and being allowed to work, earn a wage, earn a salary, that is the key question. And then beyond that, then mutual recognition of qualifications and professional competency. That is going to be a major issue. We have many nurses who are trained in the UK, for example. As it stands, once you're trained in the UK, there's a mutual recognition of the qualification. If that mutual recognition breaks even for a short period of time, it will mean we'll have huge challenges in the context of delivery of healthcare and movement of people as well in terms of their professional ability to work.
And I gather during the debate as well on the citizens' rights in the future post-Brexit, concerns also about British people, so effectively UK citizens, and their rights if they're living in other EU countries post-Brexit.
Yes, you see, at the end of the day, primarily the withdrawal agreement was about three things. It was about the island of Ireland, making sure that the peace process and the integrity of the Good Friday Agreement was upheld. the divorce bill, as it was said, how much the UK would have to contribute to the European Union for the next number of years. And then the other issue was citizens' rights. And there is broad agreement, but it's when you drill down into the detail, the implications it could have. There is about 1.2 million UK citizens residing in the European Union, and there's about 3.5 million European citizens residing in the UK. We thought initially, and that was the implication, that there would be automatic entitlement to stay and reside wherever you were, and that you would have full rights conferred on you. That is not the case anymore. People will have to apply for settlement status in the UK, and some member states in the European Union have not indicated yet which way they're going to deal with UK citizens in their jurisdiction. Bearing in mind residency, the right of residency and citizenship is primarily still a national competency.
So this still actually has to be worked out, even though the MEPs, if everything goes according to plan, you are to vote on this Brexit withdrawal agreement on the 29th of January.
Yes, and that is the risk that we take. We take a leap of faith, I suppose, in the hope that there's good faith between the UK and the European Union on the detail of citizens' rights. So next week, the parliamentary negotiating team, led by Guy Verhofstadt, is meeting with the UK ministers, Minister Barclay and others, just to discuss this particular issue around European citizens' rights and entitlements. I spoke with Guy Verhofstadt and others about this issue. I've written to Boris Johnson, I've written to the Commission President, I've written to Minister Coveney, just to ask them for their views so that, you know, I can make an informed decision. I want to vote for the withdrawal agreement. I think it is the document that best benefits Ireland. We just have to get clarity around the commitments that will be made in future around citizens' rights. I do not want to have a situation where an Irish person married to a European citizen can't move north without having to get documentation and permission from the British government to do that.
Is it definite that you will be voting on this on the 29th of January?
Well, that seems to be the indication, yes. I mean, as I said, the negotiating team are meeting with the UK
Barclay,
next week. They'll obviously be in discussions with the Commission and with Mr Barnier. I think the vast majority of the European Parliament want to resolve this issue and move into the next phase of the future relationship between the UK and the European Union in the context of trade and commerce. But the one issue that you cannot negotiate and diminish and dilute is citizens' rights. I mean, this is a fundamental principle of being a European Union citizen. And the idea that we would start bartering or trading or negotiating citizens' rights during a trade discussion and a trade negotiation would be very distasteful and would be a fundamental breach of what the European Union is about, and in the context of Ireland, what it is to mean to be an Irish citizen.